Hello YouTube, Matt here, and I'm coming to you with another video for the Forensic Operator Lab. And in this one, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to do two things that are very important for forensic investigators on our Linux systems here. And so first of all, I'm going to show you how to transfer files using the Netcat command. And second of all, I'm going to show you how to mount files with the EWF toolset. And these types of files that we're going to be mounting are the expert witness forensic type, or E01 files. So without further ado, let's get into this and learn more about how to do this. Okay, hey everyone, welcome to the intermission and welcome to a promotion for my Substack page. And on this Substack page, the Forensic Operator Lab is basically all of the companion writing pieces to the videos that I make here. Well, they're back up to about a year and 3 or 4 months ago, but yeah, that's pretty much all of the things that I've done videos on this channel the past year and 3 months, along with some other stuff like game reviews, opinions about technology, and other stuff like that. And I recommend that if you enjoy watching these videos, you check out this blog because there might be something extra in here for you, and you may get to know me a little bit more and why I make these videos the way that I do. So I hope you check that out, and I hope you subscribe. You'll really enjoy it if you do. Now back to the video. So at this point, my main machine has everything that we need, but we can go ahead and download all of the stuff that we need for this on our virtual system, just to demonstrate to you how things are going to work out here. So since this is Alma Linux, just like the system that I'm using, and I could even show you. So actually, this is pretty much the same thing here, Alma Linux Kitten 10, and or no, actually this is 10.2, but yeah, they're fairly close. They're pretty much the same thing except for the fact that this one is just regular Red Hat, and this one is more aligned with the CentOS Stream version. That's the latest. But anyway, they should probably have the same packages, and this is a nice way to test it. So at this point, we'll do sudo dnf install what I installed on the previous one before my sound got corrupted was sleuthkit. libguestfs tools, or it's libguestfs-tools, I should say, libewf and libewf tools. And afflib, and ntfs-3g, and distlocker, and qemu-img, qemu-img, and then fusc, then fuse-sshfs. And for the moment of truth. It all works out fine. And we'll tap yes to that. And then it'll download everything. Right, good. And we should be good with this after it installs scripts and everything. We're at 26 out of 93. It should be pretty quick to finish the rest. But in the meantime, I want to tell you in the next section, we're going to go over Netcat and using Netcat to push stuff between this machine and this machine. I'm pointing at that between this machine and this machine. Okay, so a few things fail, but it should be fine because this is a virtual machine and I'm just doing that for the testing purposes. So now at this point we should be good. And we will come back for a next section after a little break and a little bit of... Hey everybody, welcome back to the video, and this is post-production Matt here on day 2 of recording this video. And the whole reason why I'm recording this part is to clarify that I had to cut a whole bunch of the first edit of this part with getting Netcat getting Netcat to make the files go between the virtual machine and the host machine. And that ended up being because at first I was going to do it between 2 machines, but then I would have to record it on one machine and the other machine and show them side by side. And I was really not in the mood to go between 2 different machines, and also it wasn't working between the host machine and the virtual machine just like that right out of the box. So I had to change some settings. So with those settings that I had to change, I had to first go up here to network and create a host only network. And said host only network has an IP address on my physical machine here, my Alma Linux machine, of 192.168.56.1, and on my DHCP server it gives all the machines something between 192.168.56.100 and 56.254. And it just so happens that the first machine gets the lowest of the bound, which is 101. So let's get into the actual part with the virtual machines now. And in this case, if we run IPA on this is 56.1 and IPA on this is 56.101. And so what I want to go ahead and do on this machine is also say that since I'm using port 420, I want to be able to use that port and have traffic come through it. So what I did is I went to both of my sudo ufw allow 420 CPP or TCP, and sudo firewall cmd minus add add dash port 420 TCP permanent. And doing that on both should allow us to get connection on everything. So I'm trying to do Control L there, so if we want to transfer VirtualBox instruction, okay, first of all, cd dow downloads ls. And so we will remove VBox instructions from my downloads, and in this case, what we want to do is we want to first of all cat out the file, VBox instructions in here, and then we pipe that into in C minus V minus L minus P 420, and that means verbose, and it does everything. It prints everything out that it needs to print, and we also do a minus L for listen on port 420 and minus P for port 420. And we need to make sure on this host machine to give it sudo permissions, because this won't run currently without having a user in a group for Netcat, which I don't have. So sudo netcat, all that stuff to make it run as a root. And then that runs just fine. And on this one, we will do sudo in C, just like that, minus V 192.168.56.1 and 420. And it's important that we use this arrow key, use this right arrow key, and make VBox in VBox instructions the file, and I'm just going to put a space there because I like to put a space there. And what that will do for us is it'll give us all the stream in this after this file that I cut out, and it'll put it into our file VBox instructions. And if we do our password for this, it'll give us this, and if I go into our downloads folder, cat VBox instructions, it matches Control C. The contents of this matches the contents of this, and that should be amazing for us to do because it gave us a one-for-one copy over the network between here and here, or I'm pointing at the screen, but it gave us a one-for-one copy between here and here, and it should do the same if we did that the other way around. And you can verify that on your own time, and at this point, it's been a lot of time spent doing this, and I want to move on to my mounting stuff with the EWF stuff that I downloaded earlier. So we'll go into a new section of the video with the EWF stuff, and see you then. Hello everybody, welcome back to the final part of the video. And in this part of the video, I'm going to go over mounting EWF images, or the E01 images that you see when you do forensic challenges and everything like that. So what we're going to have here is we're going to have two different places to put things. So the best way to illustrate this is what I have already created. /m in T in the mount folder. And so the two places in the mount folder that I created are forensic-mounts and logical-mount. And forensic mounts will contain the decompressed stuff from our E01 image, and the actual file system of our image will be contained in logical mount. So I'll illustrate to you in this part of the video how to do both of those things. And now you have to create these folders each first. So you can do that easily by doing sudo l or sudo mkdir -p and whatever names you want to make them there. But then when they're made, what you're going to do is you're going to go to EWF verify. What you want to do first, since these are forensic processes, what you're going to want to do is check that you have the EWF tools installed. So here on my Red Hat system, it's going to be rpm -qa, and then pipe that into grep and EWF. And so we have lib EWF and EWF tools installed, so that's fine. And same thing for and we have all the fuse tools too, for the fuse tools for Linux too, and we'll need those when we are unmounting things. So what we're going to do first is we're going to look at the commands that the EWF tools give us. So they give us EWF acquire, in which we can acquire an image of this, and that's something that I might do in a later video. We have EWF acquisition stream, EWF debug, EWF export, EWF info, EWF mount, which I'm going to use here alongside EWF info, EWF recover, which is something that we could possibly cover in a later video, and EWF verify. And so the two that I'm going to use in this video, actually the three that I'll use in the video, are EWF verify, EWF mount, and EWF info. And also I'm going to be using the mount and umount command in this video for the logical data, and fuse rmount is the thing that I'm going to be using to unmount the first part. So to mount the first part, what we have to do first is Or what we're going to do first is give ourselves information about the image and verify that the image is correct and not corrupt. And we'll do that by doing first of all, EWF info, and it'll spit out this stuff for us when it was created. What it was created by and the media information about this. It's a pretty big file, okay. And then after that we'll go to EWF verify that same file, and it could take a while for the verification process to happen on your end, just depending on how fast your processor is. But I'm using a Ryzen 9 9950X on this, so it'll be very fast. It'll be within a couple of minutes and within the time that it takes me to think of the next sentence too. So what we're going to do next is EWF mount. And /mnt/ forensic, and we will give that sudo. Actually, it will need sudo. It'll need super user permission because it's modifying the system. And I enter my password, and it mounted it. And then I'll list out what's in the folder /lamnt/ forensic mounts, and this EWF1 file is what we have in there. And so after that, what we're going to want to do is look back at our type, and the type of file that we have, or sorry, the type of image that we have will determine the options that we use for this. So since I know that this is a WordPress server and I also know that it's Linux, there's some things that we might not want to do. So there's some options that I know of that are for Windows, and if we do have a Windows image, we can use those to mount a Windows image. But since we don't have a Windows image, we can omit those options. So we're going to do sudo -o or O for read only. And we could use some other options, but that is the main thing that we want to do here, is use the read only option, so that since this is forensics and we don't want people to we don't want to accidentally write to the files that we're looking at in this, we have to do it in read-only mode. And that'll be it. /mnt/fo /forensic mounts /EWF1 and then we can mount that under /mnt/ wherever our location up here was, under under /mnt/ oh, I called it logical mount under /logical mount. And that works, and you go sudo ls -la mnt/logic. And if we do that, we see that our image is fully mounted and we can access all of the stuff. And we can do a full forensic investigation of this on our system. And then now if we want to unmount that, we can go sudo umount, so sudo unmount. /mnt/ logical mount, and to unmount the other part, we do sudo fuse rmount /mnt/ /forensic mounts, and fuse rmount. Okay, so I forgot a thing right here. I forgot a flag right here, and that should mean that we no longer have doing that should mean that we no longer have the EWF1 in our folder. And ls-la on that shows that we in fact no longer have that in our folder. So with that out of the way, we can see that it's easy to mount and unmount volumes and EWF files into our system. And one thing that you have to note is that this process will be probably different and probably a lot longer if you have EWF files with multiple volumes and multiple partitions on them. So just make sure to note that, and also be careful to not unmount the wrong thing, mount or unmount the wrong thing with this, and also have fun with this. Have fun with being able to mount and unmount stuff in EWF format on your Linux systems. And until next time, this has been Matt from the Forensic Operator Lab talking about mounting and unmounting things and transferring files between machines over Netcat. And these tools are they could be very important for us in a forensics lab that uses only Linux systems, and you can use those as you need them. And until next time, Matt out.